Yeah. Good evening, everybody. It's good to have you here. It's 6:57 p.m. on Independence Day 2024. That's right. We're talking tonight. You know, I was thinking about it. What should we do tonight? How should we go about it? I said, I'm going to take that. This could be really simple. I've got a couple of things I want to read. A little bit on the 2nd of July and John Adams. I just want to play that scene. You'll see. We're gonna do a whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna open up the lines for all types of remembrances. Whatever you want to bring me tonight, I don't care. I need a little bit. I want some white pills. I want some Americana white pill moments tonight. So that's really all I care about. Just call in with some like holiday memories and anything that's been bubbling up for you, or just taking these things slow tonight. I don't know. The rest of the world is kind of just in a holding pattern. Just in a holding pattern. That's it. People still talking about that debate. Rudy Giuliani's been disbarred. Trump calls for Liz Cheney to go before a treason tribunal. I mean, her father should have, what is this, like sins of the father kind of a thing? I guess they're all cut from the same cloth, and she's a piece of trash herself, but who the hell knows? Everybody's still reeling from the Supreme Court rulings. Liberals out there are still fighting their delusions about whether or not Biden can go and kill anybody they want now, completely blowing things out of proportion. So tonight we're just going to enjoy some good old American themes and maybe expand it out and talk about what might be a new kind of Independence Day that we're building toward on this timeline that we're on. You know, we always lament the Republic lost. We always lament that. We talk about what we had, we talk about where we're going, and of course, there's no really rebuilding what was there. We have to till the earth again. It's got to be. We got to rotate the crops a little bit. We got to that tree of liberty, man. That's dead down to its roots. It needs to be replanted. But I'm start wondering, just like the movie Independence Day, where 4th of July is no longer an American holiday one day. What if we are building toward? Because if you see the trends in places like Europe. There's plenty of badass, patriotic people who love their homelands, love their culture. And even though their culture and their home, everything about their lives is different from those that are a few countries over, an ocean or two over, we're all fighting the same fight now. So I'll talk about that in the second half. In the first half, I just want to talk a little bit July 2nd. I want to open up the phone line, see what the hell everybody's talking about, how you're doing out there. I also just want to remind you that all of the super chats that come in through, quite frankly, superchat.com tonight and until tomorrow, Wednesday, around 12:30 p.m., you are in the winning automatically for my version of my edition of Ray Bradbury's Dandelion Wine with all of my notes. Tears soaked with my tears. And then, of course, a Trump rubber ducky that I was sent 2 of these. I said, you know what? I'm taking one of these. I'm repackaging it. And some lucky person is going to get both the book and the duck. So what do you think about that? Pretty good deal. There's some life over here at the studio tonight. Anthony and Derek and Mike are in the other room, and they are completely refurbishing and remaking Anthony's room. So if you subscribe to my brother on YouTube, 10-second songs, or on TikTok and Instagram, he's got like millions of followers wherever the hell he sets up shop. But if you follow him, you're going to see some changes to the room soon. Oh, necessary changes. There was like a crack den in there. Needed new lights, needed new camera angles, so much. So there's a transformation going on in that room as well. That'll spill into the music room. And I still have some decorative things I have to achieve with the music room. Something's not right. It's not mature enough. It's not a mature enough room. I don't know. Got to bring like a interior decorator in that just really concentrates on studio spaces and, of course, how it's going to show up on camera, because that needs a very specific kind of feeling, because it's music, but it also needs to be broadcast. So I don't know, but it's always fun creating that stuff, and we've got plenty of resourceful friends now, and it's all good. All right, so July 2nd, here we are tonight. The lines are going to be open throughout the entire evening. We will see where we go, okay? But one thing you can say about people going places, did you see what this Missouri sheriff's officer, what was it, the sheriff's office, he pulls over a UFO driving on I-44. Take a look at this. There you go. Mark Swan sent this in to me. UFO just driving on the highway over there. Crawford County, Missouri. The Crawford County Sheriff's Office pulled over an out-of-this-world vehicle on I-44 Friday evening. A UFO on wheels, of course. These friendly humanoids who have come in peace are heading to Roswell, New Mexico for a festival. There was a brief conversation about his out-of-state registration, but he assured us that he would take care of the issue when he returned to Krypton. He was also warned about our strict enforcement of warp speed on the internet and to keep his phasers on stun only while driving, the sheriff's office said on their Facebook. So they had fun with it. There you go. Congratulations. That guy, hopefully he's nice and he got to Roswell safely. Anybody ever go to any of those Roswell get-togethers? I would love to do some of those things. With Contact in the Desert, things like that. I would love to get out there and do some of those things. Shake some hands, meet like Clyde Lewis and stuff. That would be wonderful. I want to read you this. This is a tweet from Brian Ward on Twitter. His @ is God's Riddles. And I love tweets like this because it really goes to show all the things that we're missing in the news that aren't really readily covered for us. And I like how he put it all in one place. Courts all over are ruling against the COVID-19 mandates. Here's the latest roundup that you might have missed. This right in itself is a white pill. The Eighth Circuit ruled that lower courts cannot act as God when determining a person's religious beliefs. They must accept their beliefs as true. That's Ringhofer versus Mayo Clinic Ambulance. Mayo Clinic will now face trial. Number 2, the Ninth Circuit held that lower circuits could not allow secular groups to be treated more favorably than religious groups. The court should have recognized, and that's the rub there. It's not really a secular group. It's just a state religious group. It's a secular religion, but it's very religious. The court should have recognized that allowing firefighters from a different city under an exemption to fill in for firefighters and the defendants fired for not taking the vaccine for religious reasons was a violation of those firefighters' religious rights. That's Bacon versus Woodward. Another one, the 10th Circuit held that it is unconstitutional for a government to grant religious accommodations for some but not others because the government must accept as true each person's religious beliefs, and the discretionary application of exemptions was applied unconstitutionally. That is Does 111 versus, Board of Regents. DOES 1-11 versus Board of Regents. The Sixth Circuit blasted the lower court that called a person's religious beliefs personal and not religious. The court held nothing back on taking the lower court to the woodshed. That's Lucky versus Landmark Medical of Michigan. Landmark Medical of Michigan. So that's pretty good. These are pretty great. You think about all of the lawyers now that have extra things to refer to. The Ninth Circuit, a couple more, held that the plaintiff's allegations are true, that the drugs do not prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Then the drugs, if they don't do that, then it is not a vaccine, only medical treatment, which implicates a fundamental right under the 14th Amendment to refuse unwanted medical treatments. The court remanded back to the lower court for further development. That is Health Freedom versus LAUSD. Here's another one for you, a couple more. Federal court denied the U.S. government dismissing a case brought by military members stating that if drugs were under EUA, emergency use of authorization, then the fact implicates a cause of action by military members and ordered an evidentiary hearing. There's also a class action lawsuit going forward against the University of California Board of Regents over violations of a person's medical liberty rights. There's a $1 billion class action granted green light by the federal court against United Airlines relating to the COVID-19 mandates. Healthcare workers fired from their unlawful mandates are suing Governors Newsom, Brown, and Inslee. That's California, Oregon, and Washington. These are Section 1983 unconstitutional violation causes of action. There are other lawsuits against Texas HHS Commissioner Cecile Irwin Young. Let's see here. Colorado Board of Health and its director, Oregon Health Director, and California's Health Director. These are also Section 1983 constitutional violation causes of action. Couple more, I'm sorry, but they're so good. There's 3 more, sorry. There are lawsuits against Houston Methodist, Shriners Hospital for Children in Oregon, Washington, Texas, UC Health in Colorado, South Denver Cardiologist Associates, Kaiser Impertinente in California, Washington, and Oregon. And from what I'm told, there will be more lawsuits filed within the next 90 days against other hospitals. These lawsuits are over the hospital violating its government contracts and plaintiffs' 14th Amendment rights since they were acting under color of law. 2 more. I'm told there are incoming lawsuits to be filed against Connecticut, Biden, Texas, California, Arizona, and Pennsylvania over current mandates involving PrEP Act or EUA products. These are declaratory judgment actions only seeking injunctions from the mandates. And then the last one is this guy, what's his name again? His name is Brian Ward. Says he's preparing a video exposing the lawfare raging within the federal judiciary against Americans' rights to refuse investigational medicinal treatment. I think the Supreme Court would be aghast by the actions of its district and appellate judges. So again, that's Brian Ward at God's Riddles. I just thought that was a great roundup. Stuff that it's very, unless you're looking for it, digging for it, it was great to have that consolidated. A major white pill in itself. But you know what? Let's get started. Let's get this one started. We'll be right back. I hope you all enjoy yourself this evening and share the show wherever you're watching it, no matter where. I think that we are live on BitChute. Just giving that a try. I saw that it was a new feature over there, so we'll see what happens. Thank you guys and gals ahead of time. Let's have some fun.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!
Iced Earth. Big one. That's right. Today is we're right smack in the middle of the anniversary for Gettysburg as well. That Gettysburg is July 1st through 3rd. So here it is, the 2nd of July, and we got the Gettysburg anniversary right in the middle of it all. And on that album, The Glorious Burden, Iced Earth, we had this. You got to listen to it on your own. It's really an amazing, it's a 31-minute track. 32 minutes. It's 3 songs put together, but it's 32 minutes. And it's a huge saga. Civil War, Gettysburg saga, brother against brother, one best friend blue, one best friend gray. It's really great. And if you know of Iced Earth, if you listen to this album, if you haven't heard him in a while, I'd say put it into your Independence Day playlist. At least your drive-in music, man. I love it. I really do. But let's go. Oh, and I have a couple of the things out there talking about your Independence Day playlist and all that. I have a new poll out. It's on the YouTube. I figure there's a poll over there, so why not use it? The poll tonight, anybody that's watching on YouTube, you should have already voted, and then you should have liked the stream. All right, we have about, I don't know, there's 500 people there alone right now, only 181 likes. Let's go now. YouTube is completely demonetized. If you're going to be over there, just give me a like, give me a comment, and that'd be huge. That'd be like sponsoring the show for the night. Okay, likes and comments and keep chatting. But also, get in this poll. Take a look at this one. I said favorite summer dessert. Okay, is it ice cream? Is it a slushie? Is it gelato, or is it something else? If it's other, then you have to put it in the comments after the show. So go ahead and do that. Do that on Rumble as well. Anywhere where there's a comment section, tell me ice cream, slushie, gelato, or other, whatever the hell it is. Doesn't matter to me. Put it on out there. Is it a screwball? All right, so that's that. July 2nd. Here is a nice little thread I wanted to do with you. Oh, no. Scared the hell out of me. Here's a nice little thread I want to do for you. This is from Tara Ross. And she's an author of a book called Why We Need the Electoral College. Maybe I should ask her to come on the show. Anyway, this is a thread that she did from last year at Tara Ross on Twitter. Tara Ross. This day in history. 1776, the Continental Congress declared America's independence. Did you know that this vote actually occurred on July 2nd? And not July 4th. That these united colonies are, congressional delegates resolved, and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British crown. There would be no more attempts to reconcile with Great Britain. John Adams was elated, and he thought that July 2nd would be celebrated as a memorable day in American history. And he wrote to Abigail the following about July 2nd. I have a more complete quote over here that I put up on the, quite frankly, Instagram. This is John writing to his wife. The second day of July, 1776, will be the most memorable epoch in the history of America. I am apt to believe that it will be celebrated by succeeding generations as a great anniversary festival. It ought to be commemorated as a day of deliverance by solemn acts of devotion to God Almighty. It ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade, with shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations from one end of this continent to the other, from this time forward and forevermore. John Adams, 1776, writing to his main squeeze, Abigail. And if you have not watched John Adams, the series, the miniseries that HBO did years ago, you owe it to yourself. It's really I'm absolutely sure that if I were to sit down and watch it with like a Brian McClanahan, they'd be picking things apart. But it's and you got to turn it into a narrative somehow. But it is really well done, very well done. And I want to just play this one scene with you. This one scene for you. This was the voting on the Lee resolution. and it's July 2nd, 1776. It's 3 minutes long. I love this scene. It's such a heavy scene, and you'll see why. Going through it, counting the votes. Is New York going to get in the way of this? Are we really going to do this? And of course, if we do go through with this, and this does pass, it's not necessarily celebratory. I love you're going to see this. I love it. Take care.
Vote. A resolution proposed by Mr. Lee. Yes. He's not here. That these colonies are, and of a right ought to be, free and independent states, and that all political connection between them and the country of Great Britain is, and of a right ought to be, totally dissolved.
New Hampshire. New Hampshire votes yes. Rhode Island.
Rhode Island votes yes.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts votes yes.
New York.
New York has yet to receive new instructions from its constituent assembly. We therefore respectfully abstain.
Connecticut.
Connecticut votes yes.
New Jersey.
New Jersey votes yes.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania votes yes.
Delaware.
Delaware votes yes.
Virginia.
Virginia votes yes.
Maryland.
Maryland votes yes.
North Carolina.
North Carolina votes yes.
South Carolina.
South Carolina votes yes.
Georgia.
Georgia votes yes.
The vote stands 12 for independence, none against, with one abstention. The resolution carries.
Now that is just, I love that. When I first saw that, I was like, shit. See some of them just like panting. In every respect, it's your death warrant. Now I think the names of the signatories were not made public for another year, I think. But one way or another, it is full commitment then. I love that pregnant, just silence. It's so huge. And listen, this is always just going to be something that makes me excited. It's always just going to make me feel good to be a part of it, even though we're at the tail end of one end of a story, an epic of our own. We're part of that timeline. There's been quite a few dips and turns, but hell, man, we are in the middle of a chapter of our lifetime, and we're not disconnected from them, though it is a completely alien world. Something has changed. Something has twisted. But you know what? That's why I'm just going to open up the lines and just say call in with whatever. Call in with whatever. 4th of July memories, inspiring words, things that you're thinking right now, patriotic white pills. I've got a couple for you. And I'll do that in just a second. But here, 914-200-0269. 914-200-0269. Call in with whatever. Doesn't matter. You want to call in about your favorite summertime icy snack? Go right ahead. But it's worthy of just feeling nice and, I don't know, bubbly inside every once in a while. Remember, that's whole part of the plan. The whole part of the subjugation, the plan of the subjugation is the demoralization. It is also to kill morale and to just make people feel like flat tires. This still gets me nice and fills me up, man. So 200-0269. Let's take a call. 307, you're on the air. Go ahead. Hey.
Hey.
Who's this?
Is this Frank?
Yes.
This is Charlie.
Charlie, welcome to the show. Turn off that show in the background, please.
Yes, I did.
There you go. The floor is yours.
Okay. Hey, Frank. This is Charlie out here in Wyoming.
It's great to talk to you, Charlie. Go ahead.
Just wanted to see if you checked out Tennessee's state resolution 803 that they just made for the month of July.
No, what is it?
Watching the video of the founders there really reminded me of that.
What is it? I had not. I don't know anything about it.
Oh, it's essentially they rewrote the proclamation from John Adams that he made on April 15th, 1799, about essentially government confessing its sins against God and bringing God back into the government.
Did somebody mention that? Did Chris Ann Hall mention that last night? Why do I feel like 1799 was brought up last night?
It's been brought up a lot, and I've been hearing it a lot, and I'm not sure.
Well, you know what? Send that my way, because we're going to be doing a little bit more fun kind of patriotic stuff tomorrow night. I think I'm going to jump a little bit into Calvin Coolidge tomorrow night, and that would be nice to read through, because maybe it would add nicely to another July 3rd broadcast. So please email that to me if you can.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that'd be really cool. It's like a maybe 4-minute read.
Wonderful.
That'd be really cool.
Well, thank you for the call,
right,
man.
Yeah, have a good 4th.
All right, take care. Great call. I can't wait to read that. I cannot. 914-200-0269. Had a few more people calling in while we were on the line with the other caller, so hopefully they circle through. I do have some white pills over here for you, because we talk about so much about the culture really being the culprit. You know, I think that was if we go back to that show that we did on Q. What was it, last week, the week before? I think that was where I was getting the audience reaction there, and I think that's where the biggest religious feelings, that whole feeling about Q's sounding really religious at this point. I think the reason why that was so religious of a thing, aside from it having a very rapture datey kind of an approach toward the end there, and mixed into the whole thing, is the whole point that reality is fractured. You remember I said that at the end, whatever the hell was going on, whether it be one operation or another, if there is some group out there working to the end of rounding up and destroying evil within a certain government, putting things in its place, and all that stuff, there needs to be a universal. There has to be a presentation of a universal truth. There has to be, because so much is revealed to people these days, and everybody is coming at reality from totally different way, fractured. It's like a fractal kind of a thing. There has to be something universal about it. And I think that's probably part of the reason why it started feeling really, really religious with the whole Q stuff, because, it would take an act of God. to do all this stuff, to officially, or to just officially separate the wheat from the chaff. I mean, we're talking like some kind of a 5D Earth rapture-like transformation event where suddenly, in a blink, those who are ready to graduate to the next level of existence are just there, and others are just simply left behind, you know, in a 3D hell somewhere. There has to be something. There must be something. There has to be something that is not blue beam. Something that there's no way a revelation. I think that's why it is. That's how fractal the reality is right now. Let's take a call. 757. Go ahead.
Frank, it's Ken McNeil. How are you?
Wow, Ken. It's always good to hear your voice. I get so many emails.
Well, good to hear your voice and good to see you. I got to tell you, it's very synchronistic that that scene you showed. I'm in that scene. I'm one of the New York delegates. Of course, you don't see me in that because I'm standing next to the rather large actor Ed Jewett, a very, very fine actor. But I was in that room with those guys for 4 days, shooting all those scenes. And I think I sent you a picture a while back, if you recall.
I think I do. So you were cast as an extra in there, or do you know, well, obviously anybody in that room, maybe you wouldn't have a speaking part, but you would actually have been a very significant man in history. Do you know who you were or supposed to be?
I don't, it's amazing. I have never done that because what happened was I auditioned for a part in that show, and I didn't get it. It was for the doctor. I think it's in one of the scenes. I didn't get it, but they wanted me to be a featured extra. Featured extras mean you get scripts. I got another call and I can ignore it. Featured extras mean you get scripts. You have to be there as early as anybody, and you get the camera's going to be on you, and you get hotel rooms. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And it was a very nice experience. But the best thing about that was I was in a room with Danny Houston and Stephen Delane and Paul Giamatti and Justin Theroux and Tom Wilkinson, and you got to hang with these guys for like 4 days. And, it was amazing. I had to be careful because, you were just, so mesmerized by their acting skills and just what you're a part of. It's such a big thing that you're a part of. And, I had to be careful because I start looking at them and I go, oh, that's right, the camera's going to be panning on me. And I'm really only in episode 2, which is a lot of those scenes with the Continental Congress.
So are you in any way, shape, or form visible in this scene from the way they cut it?
No, Ed. What happened was when Ed Jewett stands up, I'm to the right of him, and the other two guys that were with us. I'm in. If you look at the second episode, you'll see me. But I look totally different. I got the wig on, I got the glasses.
Gotcha.
And, I'm yelling a lot. And what? We're New York delegates. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I was just going to ask, what delegation were you a part of? So you're part of New York.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay.
The bad boys in the thing, but we had to react and we had to look cranky, and I yelled and blah blah. It's it's small stuff, but a fascinating experience.
That's great.
I dabbled in acting. You can't really dabble in acting. Michael Caine said if you can imagine yourself doing something other than this, you might want to do that. So I'm a drummer.
Dude, hey, you know what? For somebody that dabbles, you were able to slip into a pretty cool project there, and thank you for the call, Ken. This was great.
Well, happy July 2nd, and happy July 4th, and all the best to you and Aurora and Lauren and all the Frankleys, and God bless you, brother.
Thank you, Ken. Ken McNeil. Been watching for a long time, like many of you. Just awesome. So I have to go back and watch. I told Lauren today, I said, would you be interested in watching John Adams with me? Have you ever seen it all the way through? She goes, not all the way through. I said, would you want to watch it with me? She goes, sure. So I'm going to have to look out for Ken McNeil in episode 2. Yeah, New York was kind of stick in the mud. Not like South Carolina, though. That's why South Carolina, there was so much, when they cast that vote, said, just kind of felt like, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this. Carrie, go ahead.
Hey, Frank. I just wanted to share that, so I have this pretty cool kind of genealogy that I was inherited and really didn't look at until about 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I have two ancestors there were at the convention of 1775 where Patrick Henry gave his immortal speech, and one was Reverend Miles Selden, and he was called the Patriot Parson, and he was the rector of the old St. John's Church in Richmond, Virginia. He was there, and also Benjamin Watkins, who was a member of that convention. I guess from Virginia. I don't, know all the intimate details, but I have so many patriots and founding people that founded this country. I really feel like they're probably rolling in their grave right now with what's going on in the country. But when I first looked at this genealogy that I inherited, it wasn't until, shortly before my father died. So I didn't really grow up knowing a lot of this. I just remember hearing that we were related to Meriwether Lewis. And that's all just kind of a rumor in the family. But when I started really looking at this, I saw three names that I remembered from, seventh grade American history. And I don't know why I remember those names, but when I was in the seventh grade, I lived in Pennsylvania, and I remember going to the bicentennial celebrations in Philadelphia. And I guess that was just a really hard time in my life, and these things just stuck out at me, and I moved around. I changed schools 9 times in a short couple of years, and so I got the same version or the same little short time period of American history over and over and over again because, changing schools. And so just wanted to share that the three names that I recognized was Colonel Miles Carey, who, you can't really, I don't even think they teach about him anymore, but him and William Cole and this Reverend Miles Selden. And I never did really think that they were the same ones, but, about 5 years ago, I started digging into it, and they really were. And there's just so many others also. And one of them is the Honorable John Clopton, and he was a congressman from Virginia. He fought in the American Revolution, and he joined the Virginia legislature from 1785. And in one of his terms, he was running against John Marshall, and he lost that term to John Marshall. But then John Marshall became the Supreme Court justice, and then John Clopton won his seat back, and he was in there until he passed away.
And those are all relations to you.
These are all, John Clopton is my 4 times great grandfather. These are all direct ancestors.
I'll tell you. Carrie, and thank you for the call. And I actually on the back of this call, I'd also like to let anybody know that from now until the end of tomorrow night's show, if you want to call in to let us know if you have any kind of any relations to Revolutionary War, Civil War, I want to hear all of your longtime American relations. That would be a really, really awesome thing. And if you've been here for you just think about the population explosion, not even counting what has happened from, on an immigration standpoint, especially in the 20th century on, but just from everybody having roots laid over here, westward expansion, and just, that's it. I can see how how so many people in this country can get traced back to, what would seem like a few compared to the billions of people that are walking on the earth. That's just so awesome. And people like me, I really don't know who the hell's in my family. I certainly don't have deep roots over here. I'm third generation now, third or fourth, third. I have some family members that got to the United States before the turn of the 20th century, but only a couple of years. So it's really just about how good the record keeping is over there in Italy, and for at least a few years, Argentina, for my mother's side, or her branch. So That's really awesome. I love listening to all you guys and gals out there that have really deep American roots, really deep ones, because that's great stuff. All right, let's take another call. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Frank. What's up? Happy 4th, Lori.
Happy.
I'm having a fire pit up here. You're invited. I'm joking.
Good.
I'm not far from you.
Happy fire pit. Go ahead.
Yeah, bro. You ever read Man in the High Castle?
Mm-mm.
No?
No.
So that was written by one of the great prophets of the 70s sci-fi prophetic generation that basically
I saw the series. I saw the series posted on Amazon a while ago. I think I watched 2 or 3 episodes, and it was pretty decent. But I just like so many shows.
Yeah, not. I watched a bit of it as well, and really not. It was incomparable to the book. They didn't do a great job with it, and they kind of muddied it up. So, like my little drop tonight is that I truly believe that this country has already been diced up, like the idea of Man in the High Castle. I think we've been spoken for. Like nowish. And
you're gonna have to stop talking in riddles and give us very quick.
Oh, okay, yeah,
just
okay.
Very,
so
very quick. What does it mean?
I think the Northeast. I think the Northeast is basically carved out for China. They will like if you can think like Flushing, Queens, as we call it, Little Beijing. There's and God bless the Chinese people, great people, not bad people. I'm not saying anything fucking bad against them. But they are here in a magnitude that will overwhelm what's left of us here in the suburbs.
Okay, so the Northeast is going to China. Where is the Midwest?
West Coast goes to Russia.
West Coast is going to Russia. Where's the Midwest going?
It'll be and you know what? Whether it's evenly split down the middle, how it's divided, I don't know. But it's something to chew on. My other thing to tell people is, check your banks. Like if you're with a shitty freaking internet bank, get your money to a bigger, safer bank right now. Pull out of the small banks. One in particular is M&T Bank. They run in Credit Karma.
Okay.
They are completely fraudulent. They are cutting people out because they are already insolvent, from what I understand.
Well, wouldn't that mean that you're going to end up in a big bank anyway when the small bank is absorbed by Chase or something like that?
Well, you know what? The smaller banks are completely like what's happened recently is that let's say you call your Credit Karma account. You will never speak to an American. I know this is an old trite thing, but literally M&T has offshored most of their assets, and they don't have any assets here.
Well, thank you for the black pill. I was looking for some white pills tonight. And,
you know what? God bless America, and you know what? Part of this is
there it was.
As you're doing, you're standing up. You know what? I'm standing in front of my American flag on my porch. I'll fucking die here. But you know what? The reality truly is that we're all going to have to face what's coming, and it's already far gone. But you know what?
Okay.
We'll keep the flag waving until my knees hit the ground. God bless you.
Keep the flag waving until the Chinese tell you to take it down over here in the Northeast. So that'll be. Who told us? No. Somebody else said that the Northeast was going to go to Canada or something like that, right? Now I would love to see what Russia did to the West Coast. What the hell are Californians going to do when Russia shows up? Listen, we talk about the world just being played and diced up like a game of dominoes all the time. It's more so corporate. As far as physical occupations, I don't know. Russia, controlling all of that. I don't know. I don't know about that. China definitely has the manpower to take a region of the United States. Lord knows they've already lawfully purchased so much of American property, resources, everything else. So that's an issue in itself. No doubt about it. And not to say that we aren't completely, like, there's like aren't several major powers talons in us, and no, we're in big trouble as far as that literal of a dicing up and a packaging and giving away. Well, I guess we'll have to see. Who gets the Southeast? Is Portugal? Is Portugal still in the? Are they still allowed to be, colonialist at all? Maybe Portugal will get Florida, and then Texas and Mexico will start fighting again. And what the hell's going to happen in Colorado? I don't know. That's where all the hippies will go and take a shit. A little bit more from Tara Ross. Instead, Americans have chosen to celebrate July 4th as our Independence Day. On that day, Congress finally approved a formal written Declaration of Independence. That declaration was written by a committee of 5 men: John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, Robert Livingston, and Roger Sherman. The 5-man committee, in turn, had appointed a subcommittee, Jefferson and Adams, to come up with the initial draft. Or at least that's how Adams remembers it. In 1822, Adams wrote a letter explaining how Jefferson became the primary author of such an important document. His letter contained a blow-by-blow of a conversation that he remembered between the 2 men. Here's a quote. Jefferson proposed to me to make the draft, and I said, I will not. You should do it. Oh, no. Well, why will you not? You ought to do it. I will not. Why? This is them going back and forth. Why not? Well, reasons enough. What can be your reasons? Reasons first, you are a Virginian. Okay, this is Adams talking to Jefferson. You are a Virginian, and a Virginian ought to appear at the head of this business. Reason second, I am obnoxious, suspected, and unpopular. You are very much otherwise. That's a very, honest assessment, self-assessment. Reason third, you can write 10 times better than I can. Well, said Jefferson, if you are decided, I will do as well as I can. In the same letter, Adams discussed the reasons that Jefferson, then relatively unknown, was appointed to the Committee of 5. Here's a quote. Mr. Jefferson brought with him a reputation for literature, science, and a happy talent at composition. Though a silent member in Congress, he was so prompt, frank, explicit, and decisive upon committee that he soon seized upon my heart, and upon this occasion I gave him my vote and did all my power to procure the votes of others. But Jefferson heard Adams' rendition of events and didn't quite agree. The committee, Jefferson wrote, James Madison, quote, unanimously pressed on myself alone to undertake the draft. I consented, I drew it, but before I reported it to the committee, I communicated it separately to Dr. Franklin and Mr. Adams, requesting their corrections because they were the 2 members whose judgments and amendments I wished most to have the benefit. So who was right? One historian suspects the truth lies somewhere in the middle, as always. And of course, there's so many years that Jefferson and Adams spent hating each other that maybe it kind of deranged both of their memories. Let's take another call. One more call, then I have some white pill stuff for you. Hey, Thomas, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Is this the legendary Frank?
Yeah, is this the legendary Thomas?
It is. It is the legendary Thomas.
Okay.
I'm calling up with some white pills.
Give me some white pills. Go it.
Everybody needs to stop being so dire about the financial calamity. Okay? And I want everybody in this audience, and it's a smart audience, to really focus on the movements of the Federal Reserve, because we all suffer from Federal Reserve derangement syndrome. We've hated them too long. They've been our adversary too long. But if you look really close, they're in a battle with the European Union, with Davos, and the European Bank elite. Our Wall Street bankers don't want to go along with Davos, okay? A lot of talk about central bank digital currency on this program, and the biggest adversaries to the CBDC are the Wall Street banks. Because if you have a central bank digital currency, there's no need for commercial banks anymore. And I won't go any further, but I want people to chew on that. That's my white pill for the audience.
Well, Thomas, if you wouldn't mind, because it sounds like you have a lot more to offer on that. on that subject, if you can write me an email or so, just so you don't disappear into the void over here, and I don't hear from you for another 6 to 8 months. Expand on that a little bit, just so maybe even in an email. So after the holiday, we can circle back around to this. I can throw your thoughts out there, and perhaps we can bring on a guest to comment on it or something else. I mean, you've got my attention. I'd like to hear a little bit more, but I understand if you just want to leave it there for, to keep everybody at the edge of their seats.
I want to be respectful of your time, so I didn't want to ramble.
Well, I mean, hey, like I said, stay in touch with the show and send me a little bit of an email. Because I'm not really good at this stuff, so I'd like to hear what you got to say, especially since it'll then be something that I could recall in future conversations. So that's
I'm just glad I got you on the phone, Frank. I'm a long time calling in, and I know you're a lover of nuance. And that's what this topic will be. So I'll love to give it to you in an email.
Please do, because I did not expect a Federal Reserve white pill tonight. And that is that's something else. So you would not want to see the Federal Reserve audited, nationalized, and or abolished?
No. I mean, that's been my position for years. But the analogy I'll give people is if it was a weapon that was oppressing the American people and looting our country, think of it as like a 50 cal machine gun in a firefight from a movie, and the person manning it was shot and it's sitting there empty. Would you just destroy it, or would you grab that sucker and start lighting people up? And that's sort of what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. I understand. I definitely want to know more. Please email the show, okay?
You got it, Frank. You have a wonderful, wonderful night, and happy 4th.
Yes. Happy 4th. Happy Independence Day, my friend. What a great call. I'm interested. Hell, I might even be interested to hear a little bit more tomorrow. If we talk about, a little bit, just do a little bit of a retrospective on Cool Calvin Coolidge. Man, 2019. I remember 2019 doing some shows on Calvin Coolidge and just being so excited for 2020. Because I said, this could be it. I mean, we could really, this could be our roaring 20s. We could do it. And then 2020 ended up being what the hell, the way it was. And now here we are in 2024. And listen, I know every astrologer that we talk to, every forecaster that we listen to, pay attention to, whether it's Catherine Austin Fitz or, one person or another. Everybody assesses that, we have a lot of fire to walk through, and that late winter, early spring 2025 can really, really be, that's it. I mean, aside from trying to correct whatever the hell's going on with us internally over here, from the border to the culture and everything else, still, look what's going on around the world. Look at the 6 shooters everybody's got pointed at each other's heads right now. Something else. But there's got to be a fight. And here's a couple of things I'll leave you. I got these just to give you a little bit more inspiration. You remember this? Got a couple of great white pills for you. From Nina Leone. Okay, this was back around COVID. It's all dead to me, she said on April 3rd. Celebrities, sports, concerts, bars, travel, none of it matters anymore. During 14 days to stop the spread, which turned into 7 weeks of lockdown, I would have done anything to go to a concert. But now, I count it as loss. It means nothing to me anymore. The people I once idolized are puppets. The politicians I once applauded are embedded in their own interests and have sold us out. The companies I once shopped with are colluding against us. The celebrities I once looked up to, I can't look at. It's all gone. 2020 changed me, and I don't miss any of it. I only wish I had ditched all of these false idols sooner. The truth is that I'd give up any of these things sooner if I had truly understood, but now I do, and it's set me free. I'll walk the narrow road with my eyes fixed on the finish line. None of what is here matters. The earth and everything here is temporary. There's a life after death, so I could count all of this as loss. 2020 was the year that separated the wheat from the chaff. There are still people straddling the line. Soon they will have to choose where they stand too. Here's a quote from Corinthians 9:24. Do you not know that in a race all runners run, but only one receives the prize? So run that you may obtain it. If disagreeing with what is happening is causing me to lose the seat at the table and lose my status in society, I'm willing to sit alone, says Nina Leone. Just a regular person. These are the little kind of public conversion stories that we've been able to see along the way. And I know that they're a lot more widespread than you think. Here's another one. This was in 2019. We always talk about how the hell are you going to red pill people? Can you red pill people? And the conditions under which somebody can be red pilled. Well, here it is right here. Former liberal, hello. This was on the boards on, July 14th, 2019. Think about what has happened since then. Read or don't read, I don't care if you meant to wake me up, but you have. For a long time, I believed that we all could live together, work together toward a bright future, full of compassion and compromise, ensuring everybody had what they needed to prosper. I believed the lies because imagining a world where what they were telling me were in fact lies was too dark to bear. I know, I can see that a lot of you are numb. After years of being on the outside looking in, you've become jaded and probably have disassociated yourself emotionally to some point. But you have to understand there are lots of us just beginning to see. There are droves of us in the West, thousands of us, more and more every day waking up from the carefully crafted dopamine and oxytocin-injected hallucinated dream world. Every waking moment for the past couple of weeks, there's only rage inside of me. I've never felt such a sense of betrayal. I see now the plan that they had for us all along. The difference between you and us just beginning to see now, that is it. It's a very, very personal thing to us. I can quite literally feel the hate infecting my heart. The more I think about it, the faster my heart beats, the deeper the rage sinks into my chest. Keep waking us up. I know it sounds so fucking dumb, but it started with infographics and memes I saw shared by friends on social media, and I know it's the same for everybody else. I know who has recently only begun to see things how they actually are in the West. I want to burn everything to the ground. Well, there's more and more that we're going to be able to talk about. With that, keep that in mind when we talk about what's going on in Europe right now, because I want to expand this out from where we are in the United States to what if we're building toward a global Independence Day one day, or a series of events, because we are all mired in the same fight now. That's it. Nobody's on the sideline looking at two super states or two regional powers duke it out anymore. It is quite literally worldwide. And we're going to talk about that on the other side. So keep your thoughts in mind, and we'll take you on the other side of the intermission. Be right back. Quite Frankly and Rise Attire have come together to create a merchandise collection that is sure to draw eyes and start conversation. High-quality t-shirts and hoodies that are perfect gifts for the Franklies in your life, or even if you just want to treat yourself. You can wear your Quite Frankly gear proudly, knowing that everyone else around you is a fucking loser for not already knowing about the show. So go to the merch tab on quitefrankly.tv and check out the growing collection of Quite Frankly classics, including the Founding Frankly, the Quite Nationals baseball tees and hoodies, the special edition Tony Black tee, or Protest the United Nations like a Chad. It's all laid out for you there on the quitefrankly.tv merch page. And remember, when you wear Quite Frankly merchandise, you're simply better than you were when you were naked.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button.
Hey.
Thank you.
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
Welcome to Intermission. Intermission.
You are now entering, quite frankly.
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 Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly, guys.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
So everybody watch. Quite frankly. With Frank.
Quite frankly.
How dare you?
Okay. Just hello. I just want to circle around and say hello to everybody on the Rumble chat. I see you in there. I see Joe Elaine. I see Joey Loves DJT. You know, I got to show you something. Talking about Donald Trump for a second. This is actually really, this is really fucking badass, to be honest. I just thought it was a really interesting video, especially if it's true. And I have to imagine it is. David Joshua, how you doing? There's some people kicking around in that. I mean, there's nearly 2,000 people watching on Rumble. I want to see that chat room just explode. Where is? Come on. Explode, my friends. Talk to each other. Let me see. Over on YouTube, let me check to see how that poll is going. We're going to get to your calls in just a second. I have more things to do with you. Where are we? Hold on. Just give me a moment here. Sometimes things just don't. Oh, there we go. All right. So far, ice cream is beating everything by 59%. I mean, 59%. Slushies come in at 11%. Gelato comes in at 15%, just edging slushy. And then 14% says, I'm going to leave this in the comments. So I can't wait to see what that is. But ice cream is just, especially if you got a good ice cream joint around by you, you know, homemade ice cream. You know an ice cream that I really, really love? This little place about an hour north in Connecticut somewhere. They provided it to a local restaurant around here, and I loved it so much. I tracked down the guy that made it, and I asked him, can you make a gallon of this and deliver it to this restaurant, and I will talk to the restaurant, see if I can pick it up from them and pass the cash along? He said, yeah, sure, I'll do that for you. He made this blueberry toasted almond ice cream. I saw it on the dessert list. I said, I had never had anything blueberry before. How's this possible? Well, I've had toasted almond before, and I love toasted almond ice cream. But the blueberry aspect was so awesome. I haven't had it in a long time. I have to get in touch with them. I think it's like called Big Dipper ice cream or something. Forget where the hell it is. Blueberry toasted almond. Damn. Tell me what your favorite not primary flavors are. Shit. I got to write that one down. What is your... Hold on. Wait a second. Non-primary ice cream flavors. Got to talk about that. So not vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. I want to know kind of like off the beaten path a little bit. I'll accept things like Rocky Road, which is probably my favorite. The Haagen-Dazs Rocky Road, very few come close to me. Come close to that. Especially if I'm eating Haagen-Dazs, it's Rocky Road. Give the Rocky Road to me. I also love their coffee ice cream. And Rocky Road, their coffee ice cream is awesome. Oh, there's a lot. But I want to hear it from you guys. Pistachio people are saying, pecan, watermelon favorite summer refresher. You know what? Molly, you're right. There's nothing like a watermelon. A juicy, cold watermelon. What's the worst ice cream you've ever had? Is it Breyers? Breyers fucking sucks. Somebody was like, no, it doesn't. I love Breyers. No, you don't. Breyers sucks. Blue Bunny? Blue Bunny's not bad. I've had a Blue Bunny milkshake before, and it worked just fine. Here's another white pill I was thinking about for you too. Like I said last year, I felt that Pride Month. Last year, I really feel that crossed the threshold, and there was no way that they can ever peacefully persuade a person into believing that this so-called movement is anything other than senseless, hedonistic depravity that is bordering on looking for a reason to be violent at every turn. Okay, and because it's becoming more and more violent and destructive. So there's nothing about that whole thing that is marketable anymore, and that's awesome. That's really interesting to me. Now, of course, the corporate powers that are behind those ridiculous things, they're still out there. But how many Pride emails did you get this year compared to 2 years ago? Because last year I saw a reduction. There was that weird Father's Day, Mother's Day synchronized campaigns against the corporate world, along the corporate world. But this year, compared to 2022, I barely got anything. And I'll tell you exactly, Shutterfly. I haven't used Shutterfly since, I don't know, 20 years ago, 18 years ago. I still get, I don't even know why. I keep saying unsubscribe and I mark them as spam, but I still get emails from Shutterfly. And that is the only company that I heard anything from about with their Pride promotions this year. Everybody else just kind of little fanfare as possible. They changed all their social media icons to the stupid rainbow flag and all that, and they still caught shit. And it's been very like, I'm over here, and yes, whatever. That's a white pill to me, man. Right there. I'll tell you. The only one is Shutterfly. All right, let's take a gander into the super chats. Witchy Poo, thank you so much. This is quite frankly superchat.com. So everybody that is sending them in is now in the running for the book and the duck, which I'm going to announce tomorrow night. Be nice. Thank you so much for that. Be nice. Jay Britt says, what the hell, New York? Way to represent. Happy July 2nd, Frank and Frankly's. Great show. Hey, at least they abstained and they allowed everybody else to go forward. They could have voted no, and they could have put the kibosh on the whole Lee resolution. But, you know, New York just abstained. New York, Vermont, I should say. It was still New York and what would be Vermont. Anyway, Big Tane says, Frank, I shot you an email about a cool experience I had meeting JC and Chris Ann Hall last week. They are the real deal. Keep up the great work and tell those dang Yankees to take it easy on my Reds. Are you kidding me? I bet you any money the Reds take, what do we got? 2 games with them? 3 games with them. Because we have the Red Sox starting on Friday night. The Reds are going to take 2. The Yankees without Judge or Soto are literally the worst lineup in baseball. You say, well, they won over 50 games so far. It is possible for those 2 things to be true. They won a lot of games, and they fucking suck. So we'll see what happens. But I think your Reds have more than a fighting chance at running all over the place, because the Reds are fast, and the Yankees don't have any catchers that can throw out good runners. So I would say run, especially if Trevino is behind the plate. Okay, let's see. E. Kim says, God bless you, Frank. Thanks for all that you do. Thank you, Kim. No B says, for the book and the duck. Oh, you're in. You're in, my friend. Thank you so much. Okay, we have a Rumble rant. Untitled 82 says, Laura Loomer tried to talk shit about Hawk Tua girl. She got shut down and admitted she was wrong. What are you talking about? Laura Loomer talk shit about the chick with, you know, I saw that thing. I'm not even touching it. I saw that passed by me like a couple of weeks before it started going viral, and it was just one of those, okay, embarrassing. And now it's just like she's the face of 2024. Like, damn, we are bored. We are bored. That is like 3 levels below the airplane girl that saw the demon in the back of the plane. But Laura Loomer tried to talk shit about her, and she got shut down. By who? I don't know. So there's some Hawk Tua drama out there. Jay Semo says, Friendly's stinks. Okay, Friendly's ice cream. There was one Friendly's ice cream flavor that we got every once in a while. It was called Black Forest Chocolate. And it was actually really good. At least I remember it being good. Everything that I remember being good as a kid, if I were to have it now, if it was the same ingredients and the same everything, it probably would just be unbearable to me. Everything is way too sweet now that I've pretty much cut so much sugar out. But yeah, well, I'll take your word for it. There's only one Friendly's ice cream that I ever tried. Jay Semo says, great show. Thanks. Well, thank you, Jay. Thank you, guys. Untitled82 says, it's on Twitter, dude. Look it up. Well, somebody send me somebody send me the Laura Loomer drama with the blowjob chick, because that's definitely what I want to know. I want to know all about it. Is anybody watching on Rumble? I mean, on BitChute. I don't know about that. All right, now we're going to go through the gold pills, and I'm going to take your calls again. I see some people bubbling through with the lines. First one up. Well, we got quite a few here. Cave Toad says, it sends a fleet. Says, John Adams series going to Hosta. Go sailing the seas for that. Going to Hosta, go sailing the seas for that. Happy Independence Day, Frank and friends. Yes, you didn't see the John Adams series? You should definitely see it. It's a classic. Thank you, Tweak. Miss Tingley, thank you. Thank you, Brewski. Safety Net 820. Shop Girl 34. A whole bunch of people are becoming subscribers over there. Bronze, gold, whatever the hell it is, it doesn't matter. All these people who are becoming subscribers through the chat room are now, for at least for the next month, are going to be in on the Sunday streams, the book club, whatever the hell else happens. There you go. Clin, thank you, C. Lynn, thank you, Clin. That sounds terrible. Witchy Poo, thank you for the cookies and the ship. Stowstube, wow, jumping in with the cookie sleeves, battling Witchy Poo, and I'm just drowning in it over here. Secret Weapon, thank you. Not My Name says, loving the white pills. Jay Sem says, excellent show. And Captain Flint says, I had black licorice in Minneapolis. Amazing. Can't believe you didn't have wild blueberry in Bar Harbor. I had, okay, I did have a blueberry soft serve in Bar Harbor. They're like, you got to try it over there. It's their signature thing. They had just opened up for the season, and it was all right. It wasn't bad. But it's not like the hand churned, whatever the hell it is, the hard ice cream. I think flavor is expressed so much differently in hard ice cream than soft serve. So when it's soft serve, I'll get maybe a chocolate or a swirl or something every once in a while, but I don't know. But what do you mean black licorice? Black licorice, tell me that's not black licorice ice cream. That sounds awful. That sounds absolutely horrible, if I'm going to be honest with you. Stowstube said, Cave Toad goes fleet. Fleet it is then. Guys, you're killing me here. Thank you, Cave Toad again. Says Hosta says have to. And pirate. Okay, well you go watch it. I can't wait to hear what you say about it. Can't wait. All right, 914-200-0269. And while we're getting those calls coming in, take a listen to this. This was shared by the Vigilant Fox just before we went live, or maybe was it just before we went live? No. It was around 1 o'clock today, but it appeared in my my feed just before we went live. Listen to this. Congressman Wesley Hunt reveals a jaw-dropping Trump story. This is amazing. In a tense meeting with Taliban leaders, Trump declared, I want to leave Afghanistan, but it's going to be conditions-based withdrawal before issuing a stark warning. Okay, take a listen to this warning. This is pretty crazy. I love stories like this.
I'm going to give you my favorite President Trump story. This is my number one favorite of all time. When we were negotiating with the Taliban, while President Trump was still the president, President Trump wanted to get out of Afghanistan, but he wanted a conditions-based withdrawal, meaning that you do what we tell you to do, and then we will start pulling troops back slowly as long as you abide by our rules. It's President Trump and Mike Pompeo, and they are talking to Taliban leadership in the room, and they had one translator in the room. President Trump looked at the Taliban leader and said this, I want to leave Afghanistan, but it's going to be a conditions-based withdrawal. And translator translated. And he said, if you harm a hair on a single American, I'm going to kill you. And the translator goes, and Trump goes, tell him that.
Yes.
Tell him what I said. Tell him what I said. reached in his pocket, pulled out a satellite photo of the leader of the Taliban's home and handed it to him.
Shut up.
Got up and walked out the room.
That's pretty. I'm sorry. That's a real story. That's fucking badass. And I don't have any reason to not believe it. I heard that. I said, wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I don't care. I like that. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, we're just walking out of the room. If a hair on American's head, I'm going to kill you. Of course, Mike Pompeo there. Mike Pompeo is probably like, can I do it? Can I be the one to kill him? So that's like the fact that Mike Pompeo's in the room makes it not as awesome a story, but still, that's pretty badass. And if it happened that way, there would be a lot less American lives lost in the foolish, ridiculous way that it was done eventually. So let's take a call. We have a call from Connecticut. 203, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi. Okay, I don't get away. I got the TV on. Listen, Frank, my son watches you every night.
Oh.
You know that ice cream place you were talking about in Connecticut?
Yeah.
It's 20 minutes from where we live. It's called the Big Dipper in Prospect, Connecticut.
That's it.
I just thought you might want to know.
Hold on, wait a second. Have you ever been there?
Oh, God, yeah. I love their toasted almond. I've had their pistachio. The ice cream is all homemade. It's awesome.
Hold on. I have to. What is this guy's name? Big Dipper ice cream. I think the guy's name was like Bruce or something. I don't know. Anyway, you go check him out. I think it was one of those specialty things. They don't make
with the blueberry. You were telling me with the blueberry.
Yes. Blueberry toasted almond. They said that they don't make it all the time, but they were making that special for this restaurant in Greenwich, Connecticut called Ginger Man. And we had it there one night. I said, who the hell? I said, who makes this? And he says, oh, well, the chef is friends with the guy who owns the store. And I said, okay, so I started this investigation to find this damn ice cream. And let me tell you something. If you live 20 minutes away from them, give them a call and ask them if they have any of the blueberry toasted almond that's going to be made anytime over the summer. And if they say yes, you got to go try it.
I think I would. Did you try it?
Oh, yeah. I bought it a whole gallon. They special delivered a gallon for me.
Oh, my God.
It's good.
I didn't hear that part. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm going to call. They're still open.
Yeah,
they got you got the young kids, the college kids and stuff. The guys who are kids that work there, but they're all wonderful people. Oh my God! Oh, I can't believe you went there. I'm so happy you guys found it.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Great. Yeah, I found them already. It's Big Dipper. That sounds right. So go and call them up and say, hey, are you making that blueberry toasted almond anytime soon? And then go try it.
I'm gonna definitely.
Okay. Well, thank you for the call.
And if they give me an answer on a date, I'll give you a ring back if I can.
Oh, please.
If you're busy, I'll just do it another day.
What's your name?
My name is Anne Marie.
Anne Marie. I don't care what the hell we're talking about. I can be talking. It can be the darkest night of this show's history. You have as soon as you taste that ice cream, I don't care what the subject matter is. You call in, said, Frank, it's Anne Marie. I had the toasted blueberry.
Oh God, I will.
Okay.
I will. My son Chris will be so happy. He just went to the store for me, so
okay.
I'm going to tell him. And Frank, I will give you a buzz, and I'm going to call them right now.
Okay. Bye-bye, Anne Marie.
All right. You take care.
See you later.
Have a wonderful holiday, honey.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
And send my best to Chris. That's so nice. He's going out to help Mom out. And I hope that they go get and taste. I don't care what we're talking about that night. Okay? I don't care what the hell we're talking about that night. I actually hope that we're talking about something terrible. And Anne Marie calls in and says, Frank, about the ice cream. Because I'll probably need that call. I'll probably need that call right at that moment. I'll say, thank God. Thank God you called me. How was it? Described every moment, every phase of the tasting. Because you get that initial taste, then there's the aftertaste, And then you go in for seconds, and the second spoonful always tastes different than the first, and it's just great. It's a wonderful experience. Anyway, Molly Artie says, I need that rubber ducky for my bathtub. So thank you for being in here on the Super Chats. And be nice, that is Witchy Poo. Okay. Great. Thank you. Let's do another one. 817, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank, this is Mitch.
Hey, Mitch.
Yeah, I was just going to go back to, since it's in the theme of July 4th, which, by the way, happy early 4th.
Yes.
The difference between state and federal. So the other day I was listening to Brian McClanahan and Razor Fist, and essentially both of them were kind of discussing the aspects of Trump's presidency and what could be fixed going into the future if he is to win. Because the first term that he had was essentially barred, no pun intended, by a whole bunch of his own constituents and people that he had in his administration. And ultimately, with guys like Rand Paul and Vivek Ramaswamy kind of pairing these lines of, we need to end most federal agencies and reform, I was listening to how essentially, based upon the Constitution and how it's written, more power and jurisdiction can go to the states, which makes sense since most federal agencies are actually just repeating the same jobs that state agencies have as well. And so, most of the ideas that were coming from both of them were what Trump needs to do going forward is make it a list of what each agency does from a federal standpoint, how it started, what are the pros, what are the cons, and then pretty much just start axing every single agency that is either built on a false premise or is a repeat of something that the state already does. I think the only exception would be agencies that are international, and it would just be more complicated from a legal standpoint to kind of get rid of them. I think Vivek Ramaswamy said something to the effect of you would have to reform the CIA instead of the opposite of basically disbanding it, whereas with the FBI, you could disband it as well as the ATF because each of the states have their own state bureau of investigation.
Yeah. I listen, redundancy is a huge thing. And we have nothing but redundancy because you have the 10th Amendment that allows and empowers every state to do everything from creating state bureaus of investigation. Of course, most states, if not all of them, have their own healthcare systems, their own, whatever the hell it is, the, state health programs, state education, all of that. And of course, that is where it's all legal. And that is where each state should be really encouraged to go and experiment with what is good for them. Because if you think about, I know some states receive a lot more than they give in these taxes that are being kicked up to DC. But if we were not funding this top-heavy, inefficient, complete boondoggle at the federal level, and all the states had their money back, and there is just, who knows? Who knows what they can do for themselves? The greatest thing here is this: to constantly remind yourself that Washington, D.C. can't do anything better than people can do for themselves in their states, and to assume that people in Arizona or New Mexico or Wyoming or Kentucky or whatever like that can't do math enough to the point where they can't balance a state checkbook and they can't really assess what's coming in and what's going out and how they can make things work for themselves. It's just so ridiculous. It actually puts forward this idea that Americans are the dumbest people on earth. And that even stupider beyond that is that 538 people that constitute our Congress, our Senate, and our House of Representatives, they're the only the people that are qualified enough to make all of these services run for each state and the hundreds of millions of people that live in all of them collectively. And it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
Right.
So
well, Frank, a lot of the issues stem from this idea of what in the Constitution, the Supremacy Clause, which, basically allows the federal law to, in some cases, trump state law if need be. But we know how the federal government works, where it's going to abuse that to mean something that it initially doesn't mean. And so now it's given precedent for, a federal agency to do law enforcement to a greater extent than what was initially planned for.
Yeah.
In cases like if you're crossing state lines and you've committed a bank robbery, that's when the feds jump in. But now the idea, which is kind of put forward by some of these lawyers and strict constitutional adherents, is that both of the states who are working in tandem with one another to catch someone who is either a threat towards national security or domestic, crimes can kind of work together, since we have enough of a collective agency within each of our own states. So it's essentially, kind of going down this rabbit hole and complexities that I really wish, if Trump gets into office, he'll consider. But, I just don't have that much hope, because with Trump, his biggest issue is surrounding himself with people who are, swamp-like. And I'm just hoping, put forward his next VP or whoever he puts in charge of the State Department or any of the intelligence agencies are wise. And that's really what's going to come down to.
It's a great question, and thank you for the call. I haven't heard. I every few months I reach out to Brian. Oh, okay. I reach out to Brian McClanahan to say, hey, you want to come on the show? And of course, he's pretty busy, and I can see why he would accept an invite to go hang out with Razorfist. That's a great opportunity there. And Brian McClanahan is a wonderful, wonderful professor, author. You should read his books. You should listen to his podcast. I've been listening to his podcast for years now, and some great stuff in there. And I'm sure we'll have him back again. But that is something that I think would be a really great question to hone in on one night with a very, very qualified guest, or at least somebody, a number of guests perhaps. What is it, if Donald Trump gets 4 years, if you are able to be his closest advisor and you're able to steer the direction of the administration, knowing that 4 years is not a lot of time, and that the monster that is the federal government and all of its tumors, those agencies, they're giant blood-sucking tumors, knowing how huge of an issue that is, what is the biggest goal for those 4 years? What's the biggest goal so that you can pass the baton, hopefully, to somebody so they can do something else? Because there's just way too much. There's way too much, and there's going to be it's such a violent fight. If he becomes president-elect in early November of 2024, God knows, man. God knows. You saw how they tried to how they did paralyze so much of the administration early on with the Russia thing, taking people out, holding them back, putting them under such a microscope, especially with the media, that every phone call that they make, every time they shake a hand with a world leader on a stage, it's some kind of a secret communication between colluding buddies. I mean, seriously, you got to really think about what the best thing to start with is. And what are you going for? What are you really expecting out of 4 years? So, because 4 to 8 was always going to be a big. It's a lot of that's a lot of time. I mean, a lot of time building it up. It's almost like what we were talking about with the health stuff with Jay over here, with Ian, Jacqueline. We talk about how you take a lifetime to build yourself up to a point of chronic disease. And it's just going to take time to unravel all that. All right. But here's what I want to set you up with. More of a white pill. And I see the Reds are beating the Yankees 5-0. Home runs all over the place. I told you. Yankees are fucking toast. But take a listen to this. This is from Peter Sweden yesterday on Twitter. Hold on, let me take this off just for a second. We'll take your calls in just a little bit. Peter Sweden just yesterday put this out. Geert Wilders won in the Netherlands. Marine Le Pen won first round in French election. Giorgia Meloni is a prime minister of Italy. Right-wing Freedom Party is leading the polls in Austria. Nigel Farage is gaining huge momentum in Britain. The right wing in Germany is polling at second place. Big things are happening. And, you know, I like I said, at the end of Independence Day, the movie, the 4th of July becomes more than just an American holiday. Bill Pullman proclaims that in the airfield, and that it becomes more of a holiday for all humanity. It reminds me that we're getting all of this confirmation that all over the world we are more than alive. There's more than a weak heartbeat out there. And we're just dealing with the same weak and completely deranged media. I'll give you an example. This was a Yahoo News article from Reuters. The headline, this is from 2 days ago, June 30th. The far right wins first round in France election. Runoff horse trading begins. The far right wins the first round. I saw this and I said, far right in France, the far right in Germany, the far right here and there, everywhere. And I got in touch with Noor bin Laden. I said, Noor, you got to give me something. Do you have anything that you can point me to that just shows what the platform, the actual political platform of the right wing, the supposedly right wing parties out there in Europe are advocating? Like, what are they all about? I want to know just how extremist they all are, because I know that the Overton window is a little bit more to the left out there in Europe compared to where we are culturally in the United States and what they're trying to make possible over here. We definitely lag behind Europe. Europe has always been culturally a little bit less individualistic, and that's just the way it is. So when they say far right, I'm saying to myself, you know, this is messaging for American audiences. These are fellow traveler news organizations that are messaging for America. This is global messaging. This is global comms for Bolsheviks all over the world running the same operation in different locations. It's all about the rise of the far right and what needs to be done to suppress it, because it's a very dangerous thing what's going on. So it's just all messaging. I said, so I asked Noor, I said, can you give me anything to read? She said, here, actually, this is a really great article. It was published in the middle of June. You should listen to it. It's only a couple minutes long. Let's take a listen, then we're going to go on a really quick break. The Myth of the Far Right Surge in Europe. It's Freedom Blog. This is David Thunder is the writer. There has been much talk of a far-right surge in the European Parliament. For example, BBC ran a headline, Far-Right Eyes Europe Vote Surge, shortly before the elections. On June 5th, Politico reported, quote, as the far-right surges, this week's European Parliament election will reorder the continent's political landscape, end quote. One of CNN's post-election headlines ran, quote, far-right surges in European Parliament elections, but center still holds, end quote. These sorts of headlines may make for exciting reading, but they reveal a profound lack of understanding of what is really going on politically in Europe. First, while you will always find pockets of far-right thinking in European political system, the notion that new and emerging political parties on the right are generally far-right is simply false. For example, if you go to the webpage of one of the major emerging political groups that is supposed to be far of the right of part of the far-right surge, the European conservatives and reformists, that is, you are greeted by not by neo-Nazi slogans, but by commitments to, quote, safeguarding citizens and borders, end quote, or, quote, respecting the rights and sovereignty of member states, end quote, or, quote, protecting the global environment at a cost that we can afford, end quote, or, quote, improving the union's efficiency and effectiveness, end quote, hardly separatist. And here's a last one for you, quote, cooperating with global partners, end quote. If you peruse the website of the Brothers of Italy, the political party associated with the supposedly far-right Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, who has really not done anything to stem the tide of African migrants into Italy, to be honest, In search of reactionary and extremist ideas, you will be deeply disappointed. The website displays a fairly humdrum list of policies to promote economic growth, a safer Europe, a better healthcare system, policies to support families and boost the birth rate, opposition to biosurveillance, a green pass, and the need to combat illegal immigration. Here, for example, is a translation of one paragraph from the Brothers of Italy European electoral platform concerning immigration. Ready for this? It must be Europe that decides who enters its territory and not criminal organizations or external actors interested in using migratory flows as a weapon to destabilize governments. That's very, very nicely said. Immigration must be framed within a context of legality and addressed in a structural manner. Saving lives is a duty, as is protecting those entitled to asylum. But the model favored by the left, characterized by indiscriminate acceptance and never implemented redistributions of migrants, has proven to be a failure. That's the end of the excerpt. Anyone who describes these sorts of policies as far right is either deeply deluded or simply determined to discredit their political adversaries by any means available. Now, they go on to talk about this, and it's more of what I expected. The German far right group, it's not even a new party. It's an old party, and it's pretty much saying the same thing as this. So it's global messaging because there's a heartbeat. And just like independent, here's another one. Bloomberg headline, France's safeguards against the far right are starting to unravel. This is from Rod Dreher on Twitter. Sounds scary, right, he says. The brown shirts must be at the door. Well, here's the National Rally platform in English, okay? In France. Here's the platform. Number 1, support spending power, lower electricity bills, reduce the value-added tax on natural gas, heating oil, and other fuels. Number 2, get France back in order, put an end to judicial laxism toward delinquents and criminals. Number 3, bring migratory submersion to a halt, drastically reduce legal and illegal immigration, and deport foreign criminals. Number 4, support our agriculture. Number 5, prioritize health, reduce medical deserts, support public hospitals. Number 6, simplify the lives of French men and women. Stop the multiplication of excessive standards that weigh on families and businesses. Number 7, make common sense savings. Lower the costs associated with immigration and fight against major social and financial fraud. Number 8, get the French the respect they deserve. Defend our sovereignty and the interest of France in Europe. Wow. How it's a progressive platform. Very, very supportive of central programs. Then again, when you think about European nation states, you're talking about states that they should be, especially culturally and ethnically homogenous. These are states that are actually better suited to be able to socialize certain things, and because you're all supporting each other, and there's a lot more homogeny there. So whenever you hear about the far right rising, I'm sure that you already roll your eyes. Just keep rolling them, because it's exactly what you would expect it to be. Only we have to consider the Overton window is a little bit farther left over there. I mean, far right should not be reserved for any political movement that advocates severe economic, social, military controls. It's all left wing. If you're talking about a central power regulating major industries and things and micromanaging people's lives on any extent, you're talking about left-wing politics, okay? Fascism, communism, it's all left-wing. It relies heavily on central government. So, where do free market, libertarian, anarcho-capitalist types exist? In the middle? In the middle of all that, with communists on their left and fascists on their right? Okay? That's ridiculous. Just think, it's ridiculous. So an anarcho-capitalist, which is so far to the right that we actually are drifting towards statelessness, which some of our founders actually thought that we would evolve to that point. That obviously we were wrong about that immediately. But to say that statelessness and that small government or limited government would be at the center of all that stuff, that would be like saying that it's like an atom without a nucleus, or a nucleus that is so small and this structurally weak. It's just so ridiculous. Far right, they can keep it. They ruined it. They ruined the whole thing. The point is, you can keep the terminology, but it's all over the place. And you think about this, and I think it's very, very Very inspiring. You know, maybe that's the big white pill about letting go of our expectations for a domestic revolution right here or a restoration. That perhaps we're just going to play our part in what is going to be a global restoration down the line, because there's more and more people every day. You think about those posts, people who were put through the ringer in 2020, people who just are just seeing things for the first time, and they're begging you, please keep waking people up. We're mad. We're getting angrier. What was it in the Independence Day when they have the alien, the recovered alien inside of Area 51, and it gets loose, and they're finally able to learn its intentions. And Bill Pullman says, "I can see its thoughts. I can see what's going on there." They go from planet to planet, taking everything. Now we're next. But when the alien was still alive, he says, "Can there be a peace?" "No, there can't be a peace." "What do you want us to do? Die?" Well, we're not going to die. Not going to do it. They're not going to extinguish the earth. Not going to do that. I think that this would be a great time to think forward and say, maybe one day we'll all have an Independence Day that we can hold dear while we reestablish our cultures again and get things under our feet. Anyway, like I said, we're going to go on a really quick break, come back and finish with more of your calls. It's 8:40, 20 minutes left. And like I said, because it is the anniversary of Gettysburg as well, I got a little something for you over here. So enjoy this for a couple of minutes. We'll be right back.
Had a friend, you looking for a message board? Go to quitefrankly.tv and enter the forum. Engage with official show topic threads or start your own thread. Get signed up. It's that easy. And it's not Reddit, so don't sweat it. For the forum and so much more, it's quitefrankly.tv. Yeehaw.
We're camping tonight on the old campground. Give us a song to cheer our weary hearts.
Gettysburg's guns are still, and the dead sleep on. America's most famous battleground is a camp again, with a road dividing the blue and gray. There is no other dividing line now, as 2,500 veterans gather from north and south to mark the 75th anniversary of America's Armageddon.
Hello! That's the rebel yell.
We think that we are a wholly superior people. If we'd been anything like as superior as we think we are, we would not have fought that war. But since we did fight it, we have to make it the greatest war of all times. And our generals were the greatest generals of all time. It's very American to do that. In time, even death itself might be abolished. Sergeant Barry Benson, a South Carolina veteran from McGowan's brigade, Wilcox's division, A.P. Hill's Corps, Army of Northern Virginia. He had enlisted 3 months before Sumter, aged 18, and served through Appomattox. Saw it so when he got around to composing the reminiscences he hoped would go down amongst my descendants for a long time. Reliving the war in words, he began to wish he could relive it in fact. And he came to believe that he and his fellow soldiers, gray and blue, might one day be able to do just that, if not here on Earth, then afterwards in Valhalla. Who knows, he asked as his narrative drew toward its close, but it may be given to us after this life to meet again in the old quarters, to play chess and drafts, to get up soon to answer the morning roll call, to fall in at the tap of the drum for drill and dress parade, and again to hastily don our war gear while the monotonous patter of the long roll summons to battle. Who knows, but again the old flags, ragged and torn, snapping in the wind, may face each other and flutter, pursuing and pursued, while the cries of victory fill a summer day. And after the battle, then the slain and wounded will arise, and all will meet together under the two flags, all sound and well, and there will be talking and laughter and cheers, and all will say, did it not seem real? Was it not as in the old days?
It's so good to have you back. Oh, so good to have you back. 914-200-0269. Let's just take it. Let's take this to wherever the hell it's going. I'll tell you. Let me see. Hold on a second. 914-200-0269. 914-200-0269. Let's take a call from Ryan. How are you? Ryan, are you there?
Hello. Oh, it's not Ryan. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
Who is
Captain Wiggles?
Oh, it's Captain Wiggles. What's going on, Anne Marie?
Ryan.
How are you? I know. Listen, I can only do. I'm trying to make this as personal as possible, but this the caller ID only gives me so much.
I'm an imposter.
I
Yes,
know.
no, it's Anna Marie.
Well, welcome to the show. It's good to hear from you. How's everything been?
I've tried to call in so many times. I am so excited. I don't even know what to say. So thank you for taking my call.
Well, it's good to have you on. What are your thoughts tonight? I want to hear everything.
Oh, I only have thoughts on the ice cream. You made me, and I know my mom's in the chat, very hungry for ice cream, and our friend as well. So I'm saying that mint chocolate chip, solid choice, and the Flintstone push pop. I don't know if you've ever had one of those.
Now, what was the Flintstones push pop? That obviously that was not ice cream, but what was it? It wasn't.
It's like, I don't know, like a sherbet maybe.
Sherbet.
Like the orange.
Yeah, it's like a sherbet. And that's essentially what the screwball was too. You ever get a screwball from a?
I've not had one of those. No.
Well,
but from the ice cream truck, right?
Yeah, the ice cream truck. It was a plastic cone. It had the sherbet, and at the bottom of the plastic cone was a gumball.
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh, the ice cream flavors sound good right now. We're pretty hungry. That's something that I'm hoping that Ben will be eating again. He's eating much better now after his surgery, so that's awesome.
Is that him hooting and hollering in the back?
He is. You want to say hi to Frank?
Yeah, let me talk to him. Hey,
you say hello.
Hey, kid, what are you doing?
He is watching Winnie the Pooh and trying to hang up the phone. Don't do that.
No. See, he's just like my daughter. Aurora
they would get along great.
Aurora loves calling. She loves FaceTiming me now just so that she can hang up.
Yes.
Because she knows that it's what a little pisser.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's good to hear him.
Do the same. Yes, definitely. Thank you for everything that you have done for us. I'm just so grateful. So thank you. We love listening to you. It was great to listen to you during all the stressful times of our life. So we really appreciate it. You and your family are wonderful. So thank you to you, Lauren, and Aurora. And we love listening to Matt. He cracks us up so much. The other night I was crying, laughing with you guys. So thank you for everything.
You are you're welcome. And it's a real honor. And there's a lot of people in the audience that are really they're happy for you, and I'm glad that wherever an impact can be made, we're happy that we can do just a little something. It's so great to hear Ben in the background enjoying his night, and there he is. There he is. Well, keep us up to date, okay?
Yes, I will. Thank you for everything, and you have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So good to hear you.
Thank you. Take care. That's a great call. So happy about that. All right. Let's take another call. Let's see here. Here's another call from Connecticut. What's going on, 203?
Hello, it's Anne Marie again.
Oh.
Frank. I got a hold. I know the caller ID doesn't say that. It probably says Wagner or something. But I called them, and the young girl answered, and she says, well, they're not mixed together. She says, we take a blueberry topping and put it over the toasted almond.
No.
Does that sound familiar?
Nope.
Okay, she's not the owner. Maybe tomorrow morning I could.
Yeah, you got to talk to. You got to talk.
Owner.
Talk to the owner and ask. You say, I know that it's a special edition ice cream, but are you making the blueberry toasted almond anytime soon?
Thank you.
It's not.
That's what I asked the girl.
Yeah. Don't deal with the seasonal workers. You got to go right to the head honcho.
Exactly. That's what I'll do tomorrow for sure.
All right, man. All right, lady.
Have a great night.
I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much, Anna Marie. I called her man, and then I called her lady, which I'd never called anybody lady before. Hey, lady. Thanks for the ice cream call. No, it's not a topping. It's not a blueberry topping. Do not let them rook you of that experience. Elizabeth, welcome to the show. How are you?
I am doing really well, Frank. Thank you for taking my call. I wanted to leave you with a white pill here really quick.
Great.
And I want to thank the indigenous families that welcomed my family over here in the 1500s, the Rosenbaum family. They were going to be burnt at the stake for being Jews, and they survived. And then they went on to actually be citizens of the United States that had a lot to do with our foundation. I'm sorry, the TV's messing me up here. I had to go in the other room. So I just wanted to say that the foundation of our country is still here. The citizens of the founders are still here. My family ended up being part of the Revolutionary War. My mother's family fought in 1776. The females fought in 1776, as a matter of fact. And then my dad's family came over as Hessian troops. And then they got together. So the Northerners and the Southerners finally got married, and we carried on the traditions.
Wow.
But you guys, of what I wanted to,
you guys were Hessians, okay? Go ahead.
Yeah, they were Hessian troops. So, yeah. So I had so much I wanted to say, and it just escaping me now, other than I want to encourage you personally, Frank, and I want to encourage the audience out there to do your genealogy, because there is so much that can be found about your ancestors that you had no idea. I am an amateur genealogist, and I also study these records, and there's a lot of ship manifestos that have information. There's a lot of christening records back from Italy and all the old countries that are still being kept in basements from hundreds of years ago. Like I said, I was able to trace my genealogy back easily to the 1500s, to the Rosenbaum family. And it's amazing what you can find out about your family. But and there's so much more I'd love to tell you about my family and the founding of this country and who my family actually is and what they did to explore the West. But that's a whole long story.
Yeah, it's another story altogether, especially with 8 minutes left.
Right.
But I think your main point is a great one, and that is people should really know. You really know who you are, where you come from, and and thank you for the call, Elizabeth. The real thing is, for so many people getting into genealogy, I think it's far more it's safer these days to be able to do that the old school investigative way. If there's any kind of paper documents, and I don't know about all the. I know that the DNA stuff has helped a lot of people find leads and all that stuff, but I just do. There's no way you can trust any of the companies that are building these databases, that are selling and engaging in commerce on the data inside of these databases. And there's so much that we learn about 23andMe and this and that. That's the only thing that my hang up on using. We're talking about that. I think it was 2022 that we were talking about that, or 23 at some point. We had a genealogy episode or two when we were talking about 23andMe. We had somebody call in that was a genealogist and how she does that for people. And no doubt about it, I'm sure that genetics, with all of the ancient human genetic information that is stored inside of our DNA, I'm sure that it is very valuable in ways that we can't even conceive of at this point. But the people who are behind these companies, you know, and it's all shared information, it just does not pass the sniff test for me. You say, well, Frank, they collect your DNA in every other way imaginable. Who cares about just giving them 2 more drops of blood with the gallons they probably found, the hair, the hair, the urine, whatever the hell it is, I don't know. All our lives they've been collecting DNA from us. So I understand your point there too, Frank. It's only a couple of drops of blood versus the pints you've given over the years that you've just, gotten a regular blood panel done. Anyway, let me get into the super chats because we're just about done here. Captain Wiggle says, I can't believe I got through. Have a great night. Oh, you did, and it was a great call. Books and Coffee. What a great name. Says 41 years ago I was getting married. The marriage did not last, but I have 4 great kids and a wonderful life. Happy Independence Day. That's what the founders fought for. Thank you so much for that. You Untitled 82 says, here you go, Frank. Here's the link on the Laura Loomer Hawk 2. Oh God, I can't believe I'm looking at this. I stand corrected. Upon further review, it turns out that she was only talking about whether she would perform fellatio on President Trump. Her plans for Election Day remain unclear. I'm sorry I peeked. I really am. I'm sorry I peeked. I have managed to not even mention that whole damn thing on here for weeks now. Let's see. There you go. Thank you so much. And on QuiteFranklySuperChat.com, we're all caught up. Great. And on Pilled, lovely Anne-Marie, great call, says J. Sem. Thank you, Amethyst Cat, Cave Toad, a whole bunch more cookies from Witchy Poo, C. Blanche, Sean Joe. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much. And I'm going to be releasing the scratching right now because it's almost time to get the hell out of here. I have a little something for you after the show. I did this during intermission. I went and I found we did the Iced Earth Star Spangled Banner. Well, I've got Declaration Day ready for you right after the credits tonight. So don't go anywhere. I put it at the end of the show just in case that gets booted on YouTube. Then it very easily I can snip it out and whatever the hell else. Thank you guys for everything. I'll talk to you tomorrow. It's our last show before the holiday. You guys are wonderful. This was a great call-in show. I feel fantastic. And tomorrow we'll do more of the same. All right? That's all from me over here. Send in emails, send in super chats overnight if you want to be part of the giveaway over here, the book club. Let me see what the polls are as of right now. With about 500 votes in, Ice Cream is taking it 59% versus 11% for Slushy, 16% Gelato, and then 14% Other, which I'm going to have to go check out in the comments on Rumble and on YouTube and everybody else. I hope you go check that out, comment and debate people and whatever the hell else. And tomorrow we'll do more. Good night. Take care.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Quite Frankly is filmed before a live studio audience. Now our super chatters starting with Be Nice, that's Witchy Poo, Molly Arty, Brits, J Brits, Big Tane, Skim 1978, No B, and our wonderful friends on Rumble Rants, and the Gold Pills. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Thanks for everything.